Monday morning, dark clouds rising. Oh, there's no sunshine anywhere. Strong winds blowing. God give us wisdom to grasp the message in the air. Oh, if I could have one wish and know that it would come true, I'd wish that God would give us strength to know just what to do. Then we could tear down the fences that fence us all in. Fences created by such evil men. Then we could tear down the fences that fence us all in. Maybe we could walk together again.
Welcome back to Lady Babylon, Satanic Initiation. Tonight, what I've got for you, we're going to go back to that party where Jesus was partying with a room full of young boys. We're going to see what he's telling them. We're going to see what he's doing, and we're going to watch him drug Judas. That's right. Tonight, we're going in deep, and we're going to take ourselves to a place we can't come back from on Lady Babylon. So we're going back to that banquet. We're going back to that supper. We're going back to that place that all the great masters have tried to depict. We're going to go back and see that tonight, only this time we're going to focus. We're going to focus on that kid, and we're going to focus on the poisoning. Yeah. Let's see what happens here. Chewy, we got to cleanse this place. We got to get it up to par. And in order to do that, we're going to make a banquet here. So I want to bring in the queen of banquets. Let's look at Golden Aphrodite, shall we? Didn't know the Morning Star was a muse, did you? Yeah. Well, as the muse, they called her Urania or Urania. Fantastic. So, good. Now that I feel the place is clean, I want to jump into the dirtiness that makes the dirtiness all that much more pleasurable. We're going to go to a banquet, a place that's been set up. And in order to get there, I want to start you with one verse tonight, and I want to bring that in. This is from Gnosis's paraphrase of John. This is from his paraphrase of John. Should we blow that up for me? Thanks. And I just want you to notice a couple of things right up top. Methuon, the second word, he's intoxicated. The kid is intoxicated, right? Remember their ages. They're mathetes. They're students. They're post-primary. 10 to 17, 18, 19, something in there. And what's this kid going to get? He's going to get from Jesus, look in the second line, an entheon arton. And I just want you to realize that's the entheotic bread that Jesus prepares for Judas in order to get him to react to what Jesus has put in his head. Isn't that amazing? We're going to go see some prostitutes in antiquity. We're going to go see these first century prostitutes. I want you to keep in mind that entheotic bread, and I want us to go. Let's look at the context of what's going on here. Look, he loved these kids. He loved them all the way through their initiation, all the way to their telos, to their completion. And when it became night, I'm translating, when the sun set below the horizon, there was a banquet that was centered around the love-making table. I knew it. I knew it. I knew there was something. Notice, are you saying that there was something going on that has to do? Well, let's just keep bringing it. It's going to get dirtier and dirtier. Let's just see. He's made this banquet. He's got everything set up for his love fest. And this is not agape that he uses. Yeah, this isn't agapao. Right? That kind of love. That kind of love that one feels in that special bond between an adult and their fostering child. And I use those terms on purpose because according to Gnosis, Judas is Jesus's foster son. Yeah. You see, all these boys that Jesus has been picking up, they're looking to him. Yeah. You see what's going on? You see what's going on? Bring up the next verse, Chewy. Let's keep going. We got to just keep right in there. Okay, so this is from the Bible, right? You'll see the verse on the right. And so the students, they were all amazed. If you realize now that Jesus' students were amazed quite easily on a regular basis, remember their ages, right? Remember their ages. And you say, well, no wonder. I always thought he was treating the apostles like they were stupid. Yeah, no, he was treating them like they were children, which they were. We're about to see one of them sit on his lap. How old is a kid who, while they're sitting on your lap, reaches up to where your breasts are? What is that? Maybe 9? Something like that. That's the party that we're at, people, right? I know we've been here before, but I'm going to add the drugs. Are you ready? Are you ready? Here we go. Let's go to the next one. Yeah. Did we get all of that one? Yeah. Oh, I wanted you to see. So, they're all amazed. Anyway, look at that second line, that second to last word, tekna. How is he addressing his followers? How is he addressing them? You can take it down. He's addressing them as children. It would be very odd for a grown man to keep addressing a group of grown men with the, word children, my little sheepies, over and over and over. You would think we would have picked that up many years ago, right? It's only the naked kid that was with Jesus when he was arrested that makes us start to think about kids anyway. Okay, let's go to the next one, please. Here we are. Here's another one. This is Matthew 8:6. So, yeah, he's like, whoever scandalizes, this is that Jesus, whoever scandalizes one of my little itty bitty buddies. Take it down. That's what that first line says in Greek, right? Whoever scandalizes one of my itty bitty micro buddies. I got my micro buddies here. My name's Jesus. I like my little boys. That's what that says. Are you surprised? Realize, please, if you haven't up until this point, I hate to blow it. I'm going to tell you. They're prostitutes. They're prostitutes. The boys are prostitutes. Okay. Are you ready? Prove this to me. Prove it. Bring on the evidence. Let's keep going. Oh, here we go. Yeah, no, we're done with that one. Keep going. Here it is. Oh, look. So Peter starts to talk to him. He says, look, he says, look, Jesus, we've left behind everything in order to join ourselves to you. We've left behind families. We've left behind homes. We have left that behind. What? These guys are attached to Jesus. Give me the definition, the next definition, right up there. What does it mean to akaluth something, right? What does it mean? It means to be joined to it, as if you have a duty or an obligation to serve it. They use it of soldiers and slaves. Take it down. Soldiers and slaves. These are Jesus's boys, and God help the person who scandalizes, who captures, who traps those boys. What I have taught you, says Jesus, I want you to pass on, boys. Yeah, Peter. You know what I'm talking about, Peter? Okay, he's about to pull it out. He's about to pull out his Cosby. Are you ready? Let's go to the next one. Here we are. Are you ready? So this is Matthew. So Peter was, he was sitting there. Oh, outside of the gate. Yeah, outside the gate. What's he doing? Right. Sorry, the courtyard. He's in the alley now. He's in the alley. He's in the courtyard. And what is he doing? Yeah, he's a little paidiske comes up to him. And she says, hey, you're one of those who's with Jesus of Nazareth. Now, what is a paidiske? Please tell me. Peter is sitting there in the courtyard while Jesus is getting hammered, right? Nervously. And a paidiske walks up to him and says, hey, you're with Jesus. What is a paidiske? It's the next definition. Yep. No, not that one. There we go. Yes, perfect. Sorry, my eyes are. I need to put on my glasses. I apologize. Bring me that up. Thanks, Chewy, for putting up with everything. Look, young girl or maiden. We don't use the term maiden anymore, right? I don't. Young female slave, bondmaid, right? These people are not there, just working. This isn't just their job. What else is she? Look at number 2. Prostitute. Prostitute, yes, a paidiske is a young girl prostitute. Isn't that nice? Now, they don't always have to be involved in sex, right? They don't. But we know the temples, and we know what the paidiske does there, and it's what you and I would call prostitution. And one of these prostitutes recognizes him. Young one, a young girl. She's like, I know that guy. He's with Jesus in the gang. You know what she did? She mentioned his pimp. She's with that pimp Jesus, right? This kid, he's not. Look, they got his pimp in there, right? It's paidiske. Now you think, oh, this is just a happenstance. This is just coincidence. Let's see what Peter does. And we're gonna go through these verses right quick, right? No. So he denied it, and he said, no, I have no idea what you're talking about. Next one. And so now he comes out of the courtyard, and when he does, another paidiske, different one, recognizes him. She sees him, and she says to the people there, she says, this guy is one of those kids that belongs to Jesus. One of those of Jesus. You mean Jesus owns these guys? Don't you realize that kid that he was arrested with in the public park at 4 a.m., that kid was akaluthoing him. He was serving. Let's go to the next one. It gets darker, but I want to see Judas get drugged. I really do. Yeah, so he goes a little bit away, and those standing off at a distance, they come up and they say, hey, you are from these guys. And we know it because from Jesus, because your lalia gives you away, bro. Your lalia gives you away. What is your lalia? What is your lalia? It's the way that you converse. It's the way that you hold yourself while you converse. You get to know somebody's lalia. And this kid, Peter, his lalia is up around Galilee. That's where he's coming from. Yeah. What does Peter do in response? Throw it up there. What does Peter do? Peter starts katathematid Zane. He starts cursing. Right? How do you lalia like one of those prostitutes around Nazareth? How do you carry yourself? What is your comportment? How do you talk? You do exactly what Peter does. You start cursing, and this is the kind of cursing that's go to hell type of cursing, or may you die, may a shark eat your mama, that kind of thing, right? So they know, they're like, yeah, he's one of them. So that's two prostitutes. Why do you think that two underage prostitutes recognize Peter, the rock and first pope of the great and mighty Christian church? Mm-hmm. Don't worry. We know how to drug these kids, right? Jesus knows. Let's get to him, right? I keep promising. Sure, this is going to be real climactic here because they want to see him. They want to see him. And I appreciate you guys being here. Thanks for everyone for coming tonight. That's fantastic. I just love that. It's an honor. You honor me with your time. So let me make it worth your time and give you some goodies. Okay, are you ready? Yeah. So before the feast, the Passover, Jesus knew that his time was up. So he finished loving. He loved them all the way to his end, his boys. And next one, please. And what happens? So there's this banquet made, and you see the next word, diabolu, and you're like, devil, what is the devil gonna do? Right? I'm gonna show you a possession. You know what necromancers do with their drugs? They cause possession. And Jesus Christ does the same with Judas. Are you ready? Let's go to the next source. We're going to sneak up on this one. You thought Jesus was passive. Nope. No, very clever sociopath, this guy. Yeah. So, okay. So the banquet's there and all our kids are there. Remember, there's their children or, teenagers, right? Teenagers. Okay. Room full of teenagers with a couple who were 10 to 12-ish. Yeah. Okay. One of them sitting on Jesus's lap. That's the one he loved. Come on, man. Come on. Don't do that. It's the children. You make it so dirty. You make it so dirty for a grown man to be in a room full of children with one of them sitting on his lap. It's not like he's done anything wrong, right? Let's see him do something wrong, Chewy. Give me that same. I think it's the same one. It's the same one. Oh, beautiful. Yeah. What does he do? He takes off his clothes. Oh, Jesus Christ. Why do you do this? Why do you do it, Jesus? You make it so easy. Yeah. People, he's in a room, an upper room. Remember, they had to go through some stuff to get this place kind of out of the way because Jesus knew his time was up, right? He felt the heat, man. They were going to come and get him. He knew it, right? He wasn't surprised. Yeah, fantastic. Let's see what he does with the boys here. Okay, so he's naked. And that's from the Bible, people. It's from the Bible. It's the Gospel of John. He's naked. He takes off his clothes. And what does he do? He picks up a towel and he wraps it around himself. He picks up some kind of towel, cloth, and he wraps it around himself. Okay, fantastic. Let's keep going. I know people that we've looked at some of this before, but I need to set up the poisoning, right? The drugging that Jesus did. Yeah, and so he pours that water into into the basin. It's like a catch basin. Yeah, and then he began to wash the feet of the students, right? If anybody in here who has students ever ended up naked and washing their feet, they'd be thrown into prison, right? This is the big event that we're making paintings about, people. This is the very last one of these banquets that we're going to have, right? Because things catch up with Jesus. There's a reason the crowd's yelling, crucify him, right? Okay, let's go to the next one, please. Yeah, and here we are. So it comes to Simon Peter. He's going to wash his feet, right? And Peter says, "Don't wash my feet." Here's the next one. He says, "Don't wash my feet." And Jesus answers him back, and he says, "Look, the thing that I'm doing, you don't understand it now. Yeah, but you'll know later. And when you do," now that's the end of the verse. But when he does figure out, he's going to be able to groom the next generation. Yeah. The prostitution continues. Yeah. You mean Christianity was a prostitution ring? Yep. And you wondered. I was sitting with the watchers the other day, and we were talking about why people didn't get it, why people didn't see it. I said, "Didn't we tell him that he was always hanging around with prostitutes?" "Well, yeah, It was that whole forgiveness thing, right? It was that you can spout that stuff anytime you want. You're still going to end up kissing Judas, right?" Okay. Let's go back to the text, see what it says. We're almost to the poisoning, people. Thanks for hanging in there with me for so long. We're going to have Neil in a little bit, but I got a few more texts to give you. Yeah, so he washes his feet. He washes their feet. All their feet have been washed. And so he puts back his clothes. He puts on his clothes again, and he, reclines. And he says to them, are you ready? By the way, he was wiping them off with the thing that he put around his flanks. That thing is not covering his glory. I am about to show you the glory of Jesus. Hallelujah. You mean you have the only attestation of Jesus's manpower? You're right about that. I have the only photo. I am the only paparazzi who was able to get that one photo of Jesus's glory. And I'm going to show it to you. Are you ready? It's text from antiquity. Don't get so worked up. It's just a text. Yes, let's go back. So he says, after he's gone through all of this, wash their feet, made us all very uncomfortable, right? Nobody here has washed the feet naked of a bunch of boys, have you? I don't know. Do you have a youth thing that does this? I don't know. But if you do, you're probably worried about getting caught, which is a good thing. Supposed to discourage that, right? Jesus rode that wave. Gangsta G was not going to let that stop him from taking care of his boys. Now let's go to the next text. I love it. What happens here? Yeah. So he says, look, I'm not going to be here for long, and you're going to come looking for me, right? And like I was saying to those Jews, wait, what? Yeah, this is the Bible, people. John 13:33. 13:33. Jesus Christ says, like the other day when I was telling those Jews You can't follow me where I'm going. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Two possibilities. Referring to somebody else's ethnicity to distinguish from your own or from your audience's ethnicity. Yeah. Which is more likely? Probably the kids who aren't Jews. Yeah. Otherwise, it makes him sound like he's a little stupid. Yeah. 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 Huh. Just a little note. I just want you to see that little bump in the text, like, You know, a lot of this kind of stuff can happen through scribal error, right? A lot of that kind of stuff can happen. So I'm not going to make a big deal about the identity thing. Let's go. Look at this. And so, you know, there was this kid lying back, right? One of his students lying back. Look at that second line. In toi kolpoi. That's on the lap of Jesus. And he was the one that Jesus loved. He was the one that Jesus loved. He's sitting on Jesus's lap. And remember, as Jesus is washing, and we're going to see this. You're going to freak when you see it. Go ahead. Next one. Yeah. And what did he do? This kid lay back. He just put his head back where Jesus is at the level of Jesus's breasts. Right at the level of his breast. So again, that's how tall the kid is that's leaning on him. And he says, who is it? Because Jesus had been saying, one of you boys is gonna betray me. One of my little sheepkins is gonna betray me. Right? Almost like he's setting it up. You ever feel like he was maybe setting it up? There's lots of, watch what happens here. Next text. Look at this. And whoops. And so, take it down for a second. So what does Jesus do? He says, I'll show you who it is. The one that I give this to, that takes it, they're the one that's going to betray me. Yeah. And he takes a little morsel and he baptizes it. He does what? He baptizes it with just a couple of little drops of the purple. And he gives it to him. And when he gives it to him, when he gives them the entheon arton, when he gives him the bread infused with the burning purple, he goes nuts. He goes nuts. Jesus pushes him right off the edge. Right? He says, watch this. When he had those kids' feet washed, you know what he said to them? Do you know what I've done to you? Yeah. He's naked. He's got that bull catching that water, washing those feet, looking right down at his glory. And you don't think his glory was there? Bring on the glory of Jesus. We got to see the glory of Jesus. Where is it? Okay, wait, we got to read this right after he takes that infused bread. What happens? Satan jumps into him. Yeah. And Jesus says, okay, go do it. Oh, take it down. What is he going to do? That little program kid, that poor guy, he didn't have a chance coming, Bill. That's Bill Cosby, Jesus Christ. Love it, Jesus. Love your work. Such a masterful manipulation. It was brilliant. Let's see what Nonus thinks. Next passage, please. Next passage. Yep. Well, I think that was it. Yeah. And so taking it, you know, it just says another one. He went out and it was nighttime. And yeah, here's how Nonus translates this. Look, at about evening, he made a banquet of this love gathering. And this third line from the bottom says, and Jesus performed. He constructed an elaborate work. It was woven together. What was it? By the power, bottom line, by the power of a wrestling demon. He used a barb. He used the barb of greed. What? What? He used the barb of greed to what? He used the barb of greed to anostres santos. To what? Do you see the oestrus in there? Everybody who's been there with me for this the whole time, do you see the oestrus? That's the mania. He is making him enter a Bacchic frenzy. A Bacchic frenzy. Bring up the definition for, yep, look at this. What? Just so, in case you don't believe me, follow the purple, right? Anoistreo, to goad to madness. And where do you see it? Euripides Bacchae. Look at the Greek in that second line. What does it say? It says, having been goaded to that madness by love, right? Goading the heart. Goading the heart. That's what Jesus is doing. He's goading the heart of Judas. Yeah. Oh, God. God, he's doing it. Isn't that genius? That's genius. That's why Nona says this is a brilliant plan. This is a brilliant plan. This man is maniacal, but he's a genius. And he's currently in a room full of boys that he just got naked in front of. Okay, bring us that source one more time. We're almost there, Neil. We're almost there. Yeah. Is that the second one? Yeah. Okay. And so this is just more of that same text. So he created this world. Look at that second line. Look at that second line. So he made this banquet. This is the rewriting of John. And he, oh, what does that third line say? Here it is. Take it down. I'm sorry. Take it down. Is everybody ready? Drum roll, please. Ladies and gentlemen, I am proud to present to you for the first time in human history the unveiling of the genitalia of Jesus Christ. Let's see it. Look at the third line. Look at the third line. He took off his clothes that covered his glorious meat. His glorious meat. Look at the word. Aigleintos. His meat, his flesh is shining. It is resplendent. Resplendent like what? Resplendent with strength. Go ahead. Go ahead. No, take that one down. That's his flesh. He showed his flesh. You have to give it to Jesus for showing his flesh. Now you understand why all the prostitutes. Now you understand why Mary has the sex drugs. Now you understand why they call the semen of Jesus the love of God. You are sitting there and you are not a Christian unless you are abusing children. The only true Christian today are those creepy priests. They're the only ones. Those creepy youth pastors, they're the only ones. All the rapist Baptists that you can find, they're the real Christians. Yes. Yeah. This is a religion that is founded by a pedophile perpetuating a rape ritual. And I'm not the one saying it. Gnosis is. I didn't make this up. All I'm doing is showing you texts. I showed you the entheotic bread. Let's see the next one. I just want you to see, people, the purple. I wanted you to see the purple. Yeah, I think that maybe go back to that one. Yeah. Oh, and by the way, this one describes after he shows his flesh, right? What does he do? He makes a kind of a false mitren. He makes a false lady's girdle, yeah, around his pube region, yeah, and he ties it off good with a strong knot kind of thing, yeah, and it's kind of in a fashion that's coming out of the tombs, yeah, this lintion thing that he's using. But what is it? What is it? Says Nonus. He says it's that cure. It's the cure of those ichmodic feet. It's the cure of the ichmodic feet. Yeah. You remember that stuff that he's putting from the washing from the kids? Yeah. When you talk about purifications and mystery, you have to remember that the first mystery queen, Lady Babylon herself, the Medwa, the queen of Colchis, you got to remember that those rituals have to do with the creation of fluids that can be used within the religion, within the mystery, right? It's Lady Babylon's cup of her own sexual juices that is the rite. When they bathed Medea, they collected the water. They didn't have a bath. They washed her and collected the off runnings and distributed those as medicine. Yeah. You mean Medea was so jacked with so many drugs, even coming out of her kolpos? When she takes care of Jason, people, you know where she gets the drugs that make Jason invulnerable to fire and to pain? She gets them out of her vagina. Right? It's the medicine of the time. If you got a problem with the sorcery, then I don't care. But Jesus is in the midst of that. He's in the midst of it with these kids. Let's go to the next text. We're almost done. Oh, yes, we've got to wrap. Look, but I want to give you the goodies that were here. Just so you can see. What is he doing? What is Jesus doing at this point? This is in Gnosis' summation or paraphrasing of John, right? He says he pours out that water, that hupokolpion water, the water that comes from below the lap, the water that comes from below the lap, right? Oh, wait a minute. Are we getting VO? Are we getting Vox Orphica? Yeah. Guess what? We're about to see it with the messengers as Jesus describes why he drugged Judas. Just notice here that yeah, he's washing their feet again, dirty guy. I just want him to see the water that comes with the lap, and I don't want you to notice that second and third word. Yeah, okay. Let's keep going. We need to get on. Yeah, I'm going to skip that one too, but I want you to notice at the bottom, oistre thentes. This is more of John's gospel, talking about other people that entered an ecstatic phase, and these people were the ones that were doing it because they were accepting the Christ at the well in Samaria when the kid apostles are all like, why is he talking to that woman? Yeah, right. Water of life stuff. It's driving them crazy. It's typical cult stuff, people. You don't see this because we've seen only the fairy tale, right? You expect the church to give you the historical reality. No, they're going to convey whatever gives to you. You know, any religion's going to do. Orthodox Judaism that's all Orthodox Judaism is an attempt at propaganda to control. That's all Orthodox anything is. Anything Orthodox is an attempt to set parameters about what is right teaching. Orthodox, right? So that's all that they do. That's why you have Bible studies, right? It's why you have Bible studies. Haven't you ever wondered why classicists study just ancient literature except for the Bible? And then you have an entire department where people study just the Bible out of its context. It's because they want to control the propaganda. That's Orthodox right there. I don't care if you're one of the Taliban. You're controlling it when you threaten girls by saying, I'm going to throw acid in your face. That's all you're doing. That's all you're doing. Let's go. Love the exposure. Get the next one up. Oh, okay. So Jesus is yelling out, what's going on here? Oh yeah. He says it with the hand. So he says, in the hand that I'm going to give the one who's going to betray me with this thing that I've baptized, that I've soaked. What have you soaked it in, Jesus? In these little drops. In these little drops. These little drops that are infused. These little drops that are infused with that wine dark or wine faced, literally, with that purple, those purple drops. Yeah. Now, again, This is Vox Orphica. Go back. I need to see that again, please, Joey. This is Vox Orphica, right? The one that I'm giving it to, right? I'm giving these infused with the purple. And this one is going to do exactly what I set up for him to do. Right? This is masterful manipulation. It's brilliant. Right? He's going to do it himself. Go to the next one. I think we skipped one that we're going to do, but I think okay, go down to the fourth line. Kai meta theskelon arton. Right? And after, now this is where the diabolical part gives in, right? So immediately upon giving him that divine bread, remember he says theskelon. It's like it's inspired, the bread of inspiration. The stuff will knock you down, right? You'll be inspired. So what does it say he does with it? It says after he gave him that was sprinkled, that he had sprinkled in. What did he sprinkle into it? He sprinkled in pothon olbu, the desire for ecstasy, the desire for bliss. What Jesus put in that bread and gave to that kid, he says, will cause him to have a desire, a drive, a passion for bliss. Okay. Kind of creepy. You know, you might expect that from Bill Cosby, right? I'm going to take him to the zone. I'm going to take him to he's giving it to him. And immediately the kid gets up. And was that nope. Yep. And oh, and he says, what happens? He gives him that bread, right? That bread of power. And what happens to him? He becomes that bread, it becomes the messenger of this overwhelming greed. And with this, you know, after administration of this thing, with its desire for bliss, pompos daimon, the daimon, and that's the devil that he's talking about when he says Satanas. That's the devil. The devil enters completely into him. Pompos alitrosunes, a messenger or a carrier of sin. A carrier of sin. Jesus, could you explain that to me one more time? Yeah. You give them the drug and the devil enters into them. Voila. Possession. Yeah. Haven't you been paying attention? He's been talking to the devil the whole time, right? He's like, get behind me. Right? Now he's using it. And now you know why. The religious Jews that are there say, this dude is casting out demons by the power of Beelzebub. Yeah, right. That's the devil. Right? That's the devil's power. He's the one who initiates that. This is his kingdom. Right? Jesus knows that. He's just using the physics. And he's using it with his boys. If you want to enter the kingdom of heaven, you've got to become a boy. Go to the last example. I just want to finish up with this, and then we'll call Gnostic Informant up and see. He's got some great stuff. I'm going to throw the floor to him. I just underline a couple of things here. I just want you to see. This is from Nonus's Dionysiaca, and I just want you to see that it's describing a group of women who have put upon their breasts these iron bowls, and these bowls are used in the creation of drugs. They preserve the divine milk of these women who were suited in armor. They're suited in armor over their breasts, and their breasts are called breasts that bring the mystic initiation. Oh, isn't that nice? Do you know what we want? We don't want that drug from Jesus. We don't want that bread that's going to make us flip out and do exactly what he's programmed us to do. We don't want that. We don't want that. We want that milk. We want that milk. Would you be surprised if you found out it had the purple? You may. You may. Now, before we bring in Neil, I just want to say to all the fundamentalist religions in the West, they're in the East now too. In the East and West, to all the fundamentalist religions, you who are people of the book, particularly you people of the book, your book is the product of a mystery rite that involved the rape of children. Yeah. From Moses to Jesus. We're all into the venom. Yeah. Yeah. Tonight, we want to call in. We want to call in the Gnostic informant. Is the Gnostic informant here?
Yes, yes.
I'm gonna shut up for a minute, and if you would just take over and give us what you've got, Neil. I'm giving you the floor. Thanks for coming tonight.
Thank you. I wanted to talk about the purple that you mentioned. So, the question is, if this is what Jesus was doing, did this tradition continue at all, and where do we have evidence of it? So, I have a text about Marcus Magus, 2nd century. So this is early. This is the first. Well, let's just say second generations of Christians after, the first generation of the first century Christians. All right, I got a screen down there. I'm sharing. There it is. And this is about Marcus Magus. He's the student of Valentinus, and Valentinus claims to be a student of John. So that's the tradition. That's what all the historians like Eusebius and all them are saying about the line of how close are they to Jesus. He's 3 away. Jesus, John, Valentinus, and Marcus Magus. So Marcus Magus is over in Rome. He's very high up. He'd be like considered a cardinal today. Extremely popular. And I just want to make one more thing clear before I read this. He was never in his lifetime charged with heresy. He was extremely popular during his lifetime. It's not until a century and a half later, where an orthodoxy begins to form. And like Dr. Amon was saying, orthodoxies come along and they hijack these wild movements, and they sort of they corporatize them basically. So he becomes a heretic way later when it becomes convenient. That's very important to know that. So the things he's doing here are considered normal Christian practice for the church at Rome. Okay? The Vatican, basically. So it says, another among them, Marcus, an adept in sorcery, carrying on operations, partly by sleight of hand and partly by demons, deceived many from time to time. This heretic alleged that, remember, this is written by a guy way later, alleged that there resided in him the mightiest power from invisible and unnameable places, very often taking the cup as it offering up the Eucharistic prayer and prolonging to a great length than usual word of invocation, he would cause the appearance of a purple and sometimes a red mixture, so that his dupes imagined that a certain grace descended on the communicated to the potion of a blood red potency. The knave, however, at the time succeeded in escaping detection from many, but now, being convicted of the imposture, he will be forced to desist from it, for infusing secretly into the mixture some drug that possessed the power of imparting such a color, the purple, as alluded above, uttering for a considerable time nonsensical expressions. We all know what this is. This is mania. This is a revelry. He was in the habit of waiting in expectation that the drug, obtaining a supply of moisture, might be dissolved and being intermingled with the potion that might impart its color to it. The drugs, however, that possess the quality of furnishing this effect we have previously mentioned in the book on magicians. So basically, he's talking about this Marcus Magus character is drugging people during the Eucharist. And what would happen was, if you continue to read the next page, he basically says, like, these people would go into Bacchic frenzies. They would go into these states of euphoria and psychedelia. And then he would tell them, that's the Spirit of God who's descended on you. That's the Holy Spirit. That's Jesus. And there's guys snitching on him as if he's a heretic, but if this guy, if it wasn't in the cards to make this guy a heretic, if the political situation didn't present itself and this guy was part of the orthodoxy, you'd never know this text. You would never know this practice ever existed. Does that make sense? Now, go ahead. You have something to say?
Yeah, no. That's an excellent point. There's there for some reason. He's not just making it up. And, it matches the traditions that we have with it. It's exactly what you would expect. So beautiful evidence. Love it.
Now, real quick, I just want to point something out. So keep that in mind when you're looking at John 13. Like, how some people will say, this isn't historical. This is legend. And it's like, okay, why is the author saying that Jesus had to dip the bread in a dish and give it to Judas in order for Satan to enter him? What is the author even trying to say there? To me, it's tomato. It doesn't even make a difference, because whether it's attributing this to Jesus or if it actually happened, it's like, well, what's going on here? Are they showing you this is like some sort of tradition to get people in the state? And one more thing I want to show. This is from John 19, same author, same text. And when he's on the cross, right? And he says, I'm thirsty. And they give him a sponge of vinegar on the stalk of a hyssop plant, right? And real quick, before I show you what a hyssop plant is, down here is a weird thing that happens. When he sees his mother, where is it? Is it down here? Oh, right here. He sees his mother, and then he says to his mother, oh, by the way, this is the disciple my beloved disciple, the one that sits on Jesus' shoulder. And he says, woman, here is your new son. Wait a minute. Your new son? What, is you married? Is this his new mother-in-law because you're married to this child? What's going on here? That's a weird thing to happen. Why would your beloved disciple have this become your mother's son? Weird. Just saying. Now, I want to show you last thing. I want to show you what a hyssop plant looks like, because this ties it all together. This is the hyssop plant. Purple, of course. It's always purple. All the drugs are always purple. You ever notice that? Why?
Yeah, I have.
What is
I
it?
have.
Even the text that I brought from Marcus Magis, he says it was a purple substance.
Yeah.
Something's going on with that.
Yeah. You say the acacia thorn is also, isn't that a purple? Produces a purple?
The acacia and mimosa hostilis plant barks.
Yeah.
When you blend it up, so it looks like a bark, but then when you blend it up and get it to a fine powder and add a little bit of water, it completely turns purple. Dark red, blood red, purple. Like the color behind me. Turns into that.
Nice. Okay, Neil, tell me, having brought in that source, what do you think the broader world out there will think? We're beginning to see, the kind of the stripped of all its Disneyland. We're seeing Jesus with prostitutes. We're seeing him use these kids. How do we take this message to the world? Do we do it with just this scholarly approach? What are we doing here? We have an audience, and the audience is engaging. What do you think? I'm just, what's your vision?
Keep bringing the sources out. I was just talking to someone before this about Jeremiah, the book of Jeremiah, and their people just assume this book was written in 650 BC. Okay, interesting. So that's the case. It should be cited. It should be passed around. It should have spread somewhere by the time we get to the 3rd century BC. This text should be well known, right? No, I'm like, okay, well, can we get a citation of this text? Can we get something? I mean, I just want to see something, because I'll believe you. I'm not being biased against this text being dated to this time. And they'll say, well, Jeremiah takes place in the time of King Hezekiah, and then blah, blah. Okay, so did Daniel. Daniel lived in the time of Belshazzar. But we figured out that Daniel has clear knowledge of what happens in Hellenistic world. So we know Daniel's a later text being backdated. In fact, a lot of people point out that prophecy is a genre. It's like the Sibylline text. They're backdated to show what happened. So why wouldn't you say the same thing for Jeremiah? And it's just funny. And then he says, and then someone else said, I'm talking to someone else about it too. And this person points out that there's a rock that somebody found under the city of David. And on the rock was there a name of somebody. The name was like Yerukim, son of somebody. That's all it says on the rock. Can't date it. It's not carbon datable, right? So you just got to look at the inscription, and it just looks like some regular Hebrew from any time, and it has this person's name on it. Well, it turns out that in the book of Zechariah, this is going to blow your mind. You're going to be like, what? This is laughable. In the book of Zechariah, somewhere in this book, it mentions a guy with that same name. So they said, since Zechariah is dated to 650, that this rock must be from 650 because a guy's name is on it with the same name that's in Zechariah. Where's the standard of the historical method and scientific where how come when we get to Bible studies that all goes out the window? Like you mentioned, the classics department is a whole different world. You're going to try to get a PhD in classics. You're going to have to know Greek. You're going to have to know different languages. Then to get a PhD in like some Bible studies, you get a Master of Divinity, which is nothing. Master of Divinity is laughable. And then you take that Master of Divinity and you just get like a PhD in some random studying Daniel or something. It's a way easier PhD is what I'm saying. I'm not saying it ain't easy. I haven't done it, so who am I to talk? But I'm just saying it's a different world than classics, and I don't think anyone disagree. I don't think anyone would disagree with me on that.
When now you know why classicists have the same reaction to Bible scholars, right? Because it's not really real, right? When you can date something like that from a absurdity, I mean, okay, if we did that with the rest of history, we would be so confused. And you could say anything you want. You can make any argument you wanted. No, there's a standard Neil's pointing out, and that standard is the text. We have that thing preserved. You think archaeologists make stuff up? They're trying to figure out from the dirt. They're getting that evidence there. We have that with classics too. We have that evidence. So it's all about handling that evidence, people. And you've seen them. We showed you. They're using the drugs. They're in these sex rites. The Christians are doing it. Jesus is doing it. How many naked boys am I going to have to find associated with Jesus before somebody says, maybe this guy's right. We should go back and look at it. Neil, how many years? Give me a number. Between 1 and 10. How many years before what you and I are doing is going to actually catch up to the academics, where they're going to say, oh, wait a minute?
It's a good question. I was talking with Derek about that. And I think it's only a matter of time before they're going to have to engage with this stuff. The more people that come up and say the same thing, like Russell Gmerkin, from a whole different point of reference, is coming to the same conclusion as you and me and a few others. So eventually, don't you want to prove us wrong? If everything that you guys have consensus on, if it's so rock solid, if it's so well slam dunk, we know these dates now, then shouldn't you be able to just lay something out for me that I can't defend, right? So I think it'd be short, a couple of years, 2-3 years.
Good. I hope you're right, man. I hope you're right, and I hope this type of the new museum with this new technology, I hope it catapults things forward. Thank you. Thank you to YouTube for letting people do this.
Did you know that to get a Master of Divinity, you have to sign a statement of faith? Did you know this?
Is that it?
These SBL seminarians, they have to sign a statement of faith. Can I pull it up? Can I pull it up and show people what it says?
Of course. Go ahead.
All right. Because think about this. Why is this there? Okay. So somebody tried to tell me it's not that big of a deal, Neil. Stop it. They're just doing it because, whatever. Well, then why are they doing it? Like, you're telling me that I have to sign on a piece of paper and lie? If I don't plan on being faithful, then I'm going to lie. I'm going to sign something and lie to you. And if I do want to be faithful, then I'm signing something to say that I'm going to lie to other people. Because if I find something that goes against my beliefs, then I have to say it. I don't believe it. So why should anyone take anything the SBL says seriously? Look at this. Discussing faith and reason. I think this is like some sort of like, oh, okay, so this is from the SBL site saying that basically they're saying, because they're getting a bunch of complaints from people saying, you guys are signing statements of faith? What the fuck? Right? So here's them saying like, no, we don't, it doesn't mean anything. No, it's not a big deal. Look, all these people sign these things saying they take their work serious. Okay, bullshit, dude. Sorry, but like that shit is just not cutting it for me. Like, I'm sorry. Why is it there? I'm just saying. Am I being crazy for asking why that's there?
No. Do you think it's maybe this kind of similar to the Apostles' Creed? I mean, they came up with that pretty early too. Like, what is that stuff for? When you make a mantra that everybody has to follow, that's just control, isn't it?
It is. Like, you're putting someone in a position, no matter what you're saying, you need to be a liar. Now, before you say I'm being like unfair here, let's run this down. You're a Christian, okay? You're a Christian. You get your Master of Divinity. You sign your statement of faith. Now you're basically signing on a piece of paper that if I find evidence that goes against my faith, I have to reject it. You're telling someone to do that. Now, if I really just wanted to get this, if I'm really just trying to get a PhD as a Bible scholar, and I don't really have faith, right? Let's say I'm a real critical scholar. You're still making me sign it. And because I'm not going to go along with this thing, I'm lying to you. So I'm lying to somebody no matter what. You're making people lie by doing this. How stupid is that? It's so crazy. It's like, I can't take it seriously anymore. I can't. I don't take them seriously anymore.
It's almost like mind control, isn't it? I mean, you see
they talk down on people like myself who I do this completely on my own. I'm not working for a university. I'm not a scholar. I'm just a guy with a channel that wants to learn and wants to make content. But when I come to some of these people with their Masters of Divinities and I talk to them and I bring stuff up like, hey, why does Herodotus never mention any of this? Like, I'll just say stuff like, how come these Elephantine Jews living in the 5th century don't have any book of Exodus? They don't have a book of Genesis. They don't have any of the prophets. They have a temple of Yahweh, but they also have other, like, what's going on? Like, why is there no evidence at all of any of these texts until the 4th and 3rd century? And they just write me off like I'm being like I'm a mythicist or some crazy person. They just write you off completely. Like what you're saying is it's so beneath me that I don't even have to respond to you. That's the type of mentality that I get when I bring this stuff to their attention. It just seems like what I'm saying is so look at me. I have a PhD in the Dead Sea Scrolls. So that means I went to school for 10 years. And you're bringing stuff to my attention that I've never heard before. So therefore, it must not be true. That's what it feels like. Just feels like you think because you went to school for 10 years that you know everything now. And it's like, that's not what I'm seeing. I'm not impressed, to be honest. I'm just not.
I would correct you in one way, Neil. I would correct you in one way. You said I'm not a scholar. That's not true. That's not true. You're a better scholar than people I worked with. Okay? So that's absolutely not true. You're a scholar of this public museum, and people come to you to get that information. So, you may not be sharing in the glory of the boys at Princeton and Harvard, but yes, we can smack.
Yeah, I'm good on that.
But you're a scholar. Don't ever say you're not a scholar. No, that's bullshit. That's bullshit. Those degrees that those people have are worthless. They think they can hold them over your head. You show them the evidence and they run away. They run away like cowards. Sir Smug, you're a coward.
I asked for a citation of Genesis. Just somebody, one person mentioning the book of Genesis and the ancient world. Let's say before 400. Let's see. That should be pretty easy. I get shown a Hebrew word, 2 Hebrew words side by side in the book of Jeremiah. Now, yes, it's true that in the book of Genesis, those 2 Hebrew words show up side by side. How is that a citation? You found a genetic connection between 2 texts? Maybe. How is that a citation, though? Right? That's what I asked for. That's what I got. So if that's the best you can give me when I ask for a citation of the most masterpiece book of all time, the book that started 3 major religions that conquered the world, and all I'm asking for is somebody somewhere that mentions this text before 400 BC. And the best you can do is show me some language in another book that doesn't even say, like, a citation to me is when Plato says, in Homer's Odyssey, book 10, Odysseus does this. That's a citation. But when something happens in one book and they mention a word, they use the word chaos, and then in another book, someone else uses the word chaos, that's not a citation. The citation would be, oh, in the book written by Moses called Genesis, here's what it says. Blah, 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 blah. That's a citation. And that's what I said to this person. I said, that's not a citation. And they're like, they wrote me off like I was some crazy person because I didn't accept this idea of a citation. So I'm just saying that's the best. If that's the first thing you're throwing at me, then I already know that where I'm going is in the right direction.
Do you feel, Neil, you don't have to name names.
I'm not going to.
But do you feel that in all of your interactions with scholars over the years, do you feel that you may have been intellectually molested a little bit?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Especially when I was at the church. Glad I broke out of that pretty quick, though.
I'm sorry.
Even after, like coming out of that, and I start following different academics. Yeah, of course. That's the case sometimes,
Yeah. It's just a shame that people won't kind of say, hey, damn the fame, damn the career, damn the money. We're just bringing the museum, and that's what you're doing. Well, and yeah. I hope your art, by the way, for all my audience, I hope Neil's art continues to take off, because he's going to be the next. Get this. I hope you don't mind if I tell them, but they know that you work with me. You produce some of the video, right, that I'm bringing out, and your style and your certain flair that you've got. And I want to thank you for doing it. I want them to recognize that as well. But I have presented Neil with one of the most difficult projects I think you could have. And that is, I asked him to present the image of Lady Babylon, the Medea, producing the communion from her vagina, just as the texts talk about. And I'm hoping that he can do this, but he has to go up against an AI. You have to battle an AI, right?
Things very regulated on what you try to produce, which you can understand that, because there's people who try to make, pedophilia shit going on. So you can see why it's like that. So I don't know what it's going to let me do. I don't know how far it'll let me go, but we're definitely going to try it.
Logically, people, remember, I'm going to be reading a text. This is a preview. I'm going to be reading a text, so the whole YouTube community can know how on the up and up this is. I'm going to be reading a text of a Roman, Gaius Valerius Flaccus, where he describes Medea taking the drug from her vagina that is used to anoint Jason so that he can be both flame retardant and without any pain, stimulated for combat. Love it. Love it. So I'm hoping that Neil can bring this image of Lady Babylon through. I love it. Neil, I can't thank you enough for working with me.
My pleasure.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thanks for coming tonight. And rock on and hail Satan.
Hail Satan.
Tear down the fences that fence us all in. Fences created by such evil men that we could tear down the fences that fence us all in. Maybe we could walk together again. Just maybe we could walk together again.